So what you're looking at here is my diagnostic scanner, and these are it's done a scan and talked to all the car's computers. This diagnostic scanner has talked to or communicated with all the different computers on your car. And these are all the computers: the ECM engine control module, TCM transmission control module, BCM brake control module, so on and so on. Each one of these acronyms stands for a particular module, or what you may better know as a computer. That's page 1 and that's page 2. So you can see there's a lot of computers on your car. Now over here on the right column, you'll see if it's green with a check mark, that means that computer's happy. If it's F, that means there's faults that are logged in that computer and the computer's not happy. You can see you have a lot of computers that are not happy here. And then on the second page, you've got a couple computers, 3 of them there, that are not happy. Now what we're going to primarily be concerned with at the outset is the engine control computer. That's the big daddy computer itself. So when we go to the engine control computer and we read the faults out, we'll see that there are 5 faults in it. So this is one of number 5. Mass airflow sensor is too low. Another one from the mass airflow sensor is too low. Long-term fuel trim. Another one of the long-term fuel trim. And then finally the brake pedal sensor itself. These first 4 faults are all related to each other. So what you need to get here is a mass airflow sensor. And the reason there's 2 of them is it's starting to scream at you. That is to say, we start seeing redundant faults. In other words, faults that say the same thing, generally speaking, because they're continuing to state their case. They're saying this is a real problem. So we're going to give you an estimate on the mass airflow sensor itself. And these 2 faults here, long-term fuel trim, these generally are related to the mass airflow sensor. I'm not particularly worried with them at the moment until you get the primary problem done, which is the mass airflow sensor. Now this last fault itself, having to do with the brake pedal sensor, has to do with, there is a sensor switch. I'll show this to you. It does not affect the way the car runs, but it does set a fault, and that sensor sits right here. My lighting may not be too good, but it's this thingamajig here. Don't have that in stock. That's a special order part. That's something you would probably need to come back for. And you may continue to get a check engine light because it only takes 1 fault of all those faults that you saw. There were 5 of them in there, so it only takes just that one to make the light come on. First things first, though, let's get the mass airflow sensor, which is this big monkey here, replaced and get the car running good. And then if you need to, we'll special order this part and you can come back later on for that. And by the way, this fault itself is, this particular part is tied in. It loops around, it connects, and it comes to this pump here. And sometimes these pumps will fail. And when the pumps fail, they'll kill that switch. They're all connected via a hose. You can kind of see the hose itself. But again, when you're doing these jobs, first things first, deal with the obvious and move toward the less obvious. Let's get the air mass meter changed and get the engine running good, and then we can clear the faults. I'll drive it down the road and we'll recheck this just to be sure that in fact it's not crying wolf and that it has out and out failed. Okay, so we'll send you estimates for the air mass meter, and over here what we're going to suggest is I'm going to disconnect the actual air conditioning compressor. There's electrical wire that goes to it, and put a new belt, because it's really burned up your belt that's in here, because every time you cranked it, it's been burning and burning against that belt. And then you can better then at least we'll have the car the way it won't be dragging every time you crank, and you'll need to kick that can down the road till it's summertime gets here and get you a compressor, and you should be in good shape there.